Jets saved their season with the win.
I think they have saved this season. You know why? Because it's not dead yet.
Robert Saleh said, I think we can go toe-to-toe with everybody. It's not I think. You can.
If you're looking for a way to galvanize a team, get to 3-3 with your franchise quarterback playing only 4 plays. Still be alive with him throwing on the field.
Okay, Aaron Rodgers goes down, so now can Nathaniel Hackett really coach? Failed last year in Denver, didn't even last a year. It looks like he can coach.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys, prior to the beginning of the 2023 NFL season, it was a legitimate question that was being thrown around if the New York Jets would be able to come out of the gauntlet of a schedule they had through the first 6 weeks of the season with a 500 record. Keep in mind as well, that was with the assumption that this guy would be running the offense. And well, they're 500, but if you would have told me that this guy was the one that was indirectly leading them to this point, I probably would have called you insane. But here we are. New York is absolutely rolling. They've went head-to-head with some of the best teams in the entire league at this point. And to top it all off, their QB1 is looking to do something that none of us have ever seen before. But what I want to do is dive a little deeper into how the Jets are specifically winning some of these games, because honestly, it's really become something that you need to see to believe. But also, if you guys haven't done so yet, do not forget to subscribe and turn on those notifications to never miss another NFL video throughout the entire 2023 season. Okay, so to get back on topic with the New York Jets, this is a team that rightfully so with what's been seen up to this point this season, that's tipping their cap to its all-world defense really more than anything else. And even though while some of the broader numbers across the board don't necessarily do an efficient job at painting the picture, their turnover count on the other hand, yeah, that definitely does. In fact, it's probably the single-handed reason as to why this team sits where they currently do. I mean, guys, when you hold the top 3 MVP candidates from last season to numbers like these through a 6-week stretch, Robert Saleh said it better than anybody else could.
You know, through these first 6 weeks, we've played a gauntlet of quarterbacks, and I know we haven't gotten all wins, but we've embarrassed all of them.
But nonetheless, even with how much the impact from this side of the ball has caught the eye of the NFL world this season, I mean, this was still relatively expected to be seen from the jump. But I'll tell you what wasn't expected, especially with what happened just 5 minutes into this team's 2023 season, was the fact that the offensive side of the ball is showing us some things that almost nobody could have anticipated given the circumstances. Now, believe me, I get it. When looking at the grand scheme of things and what this Jets offense has done up to this point in the 2023 season, the numbers would indicate that sure, it definitely could be better, but at least in the very specific situation that is the New York Jets, I don't think these numbers necessarily tell the whole story. For example, you remember Robert Saleh's high praise for the gauntlet of quarterbacks that this defense has had to endure up to this point? Well, ironically, the exact same can be said for the gauntlet of defenses this Jets offense has had to endure. In fact, with 5 of the 6 opponents posting a borderline top 10 defense, you could argue it's the toughest stretch that any team has had to face. But in regards to Zach Wilson, while I know there is plenty of issues that you can point to throughout this entire stretch of games, but I mean, on the other side of things, there's some positives that I never thought I'd see from him. Now, obviously, Zach Wilson's numbers up to this point this season are not eye-popping by literally any stretch of the imagination, but over the last couple of weeks, the case can definitely be made through both the film and even the numbers that he is noticeably improving. I mean, specifics such as progressing through his reads and his pocket awareness seem to be better than ever before. His footwork in dropback situations has phenomenally improved, which has actually led to him being one of the more accurate quarterbacks in all of football according to advanced metrics. And what might be best of all is that it feels as if he is slowly adapting more and more into the game manager that he needs to be for this team. Because trust me, while the improvements of Zach Wilson, sure, they're great and all to see, the production and efficiency that we've seen from the rest of this side of the ball, going all the way from the offensive firepower to even the coaching personnel, yeah, that's making much more of a difference. Because once it became a reality that Zach Wilson would once again be at the helm of this team for the foreseeable future, change was definitely needed for the offensive scheme, and change is exactly what we've seen. Because between the atrocities that were seen from this team through the first 3 games of the season to Zach Wilson essentially becoming Aaron Rodgers reincarnated on Sunday Night Football, the script almost flipped in the matter of a single game. And sure, while you could point to simpler answers as to why this was the case, like for example, example, Breece Hall finally returning to a full workload, or even guys like their wide receiver 1 and Garrett Wilson looking better than he ever has, along with guys like Lazard and Tyler Conklin stepping up to the plate as well. But honestly, it's really as simple as them playing to their quarterback's strengths as much as possible. For example, if you had to pick one flaw with Zach Wilson that sticks out above the rest, it's probably his decision-making when under pressure. And with being one of the more highly pressured quarterbacks in all of football this year, along with this team's brutally battered offensive line, let's just say these situations have happened more than Saleh and company would probably like. But in order to combat what they already know defenses are trying to throw at them, it's been as simple as them playing directly into what the opposition is giving them. For starters, his overall pocket time in terms of how quickly he is getting rid of the football has drastically reduced to one of the lowest in the entire league. And they've done this by very noticeably reducing play action scenarios while also increasing scheming out of the shotgun, allowing for this offense to very quickly hit their targets off the jump of the snap. And they're doing this with very heavy incorporation of quick read concepts such as out, hitch, and even simple flat routes. And I mean, sure, you can laugh if you want, considering this offense is still dead last in the league in terms of air attack production per game. The quantity over quality approach that they've shifted into with Zach Wilson has made them one of the more efficient in the entire game. And yes, even though it sounds absolutely ridiculous to say, more than 85% of their dropback situations go less than 10 to 15 yards down the field. Yeah, it's not the prettiest, but indirectly, it is winning them football games. But also, what about the effect that this might have on the ground game? Well, again, even though this offense is really doing the exact opposite of expanding the field through the air attack, which in turn would highly complement the ground game, it turns out that most backfields across the league don't have a guy named Breece Hall. Because even with this team having, let's just say, one of the more unfriendly situations for a running back to succeed when you consider everything across the board, the three-headed tandem of Breece, Dalvin Cook, and Michael Carter are still posting one of the more efficient offenses in this regard as well. And I know, in terms of the total offensive output from this team and the numbers, it might not seem like it at first glance. When you just throw out the numbers and watch the game, the potential for what this team can do is only getting higher and higher. And well, when you pair up an only improving offense with the likes of Sauce Gardner, Jordan Whitehead, DJ Reed, CJ Mosley, the Williams brothers, and I could keep going if I really wanted to. Nonetheless though, you guys get my point. And when it's all said and done, if we end up seeing this guy make a return to top it all off, I mean, it's cliche as hell, but it's true. Anything would be possible. But also, guys, I'm extremely curious to hear what you all have to think about this entire New York Jets situation as well. So please be sure to let me know in the comments what has been the most surprising thing that you've seen from the Jets, either on the offensive or the defensive side of the ball, and if you had to, predict what their record will be when we hit the 2023 playoffs. But also, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate y'all more than anything, and I will see you guys in the next video.